Hello, Facebook friends. Just wanted to touch base with you on something. I can't believe I'm finding myself in a position where I'm going to attempt to give advice, but to the younger people on Facebook that are Christians, let me give you a little bit of background. As you know, on Facebook, there's groups for everything, There's no exception in the Christian world, too. There are literally hundreds of Facebook groups having something to do with Christianity. Doctrines of this, doctrines of that, one true faith, believers, you name it, they're on there. Well, sometimes young people, eager and full of zeal to go out there and test their apologetics chops, come across one of these pages and they just get demoralized. So you have to remember, just because a page might claim an official sounding title doesn't mean it's run by anybody with authority. Unfortunately, one of the consequences of our Protestant Reformation was that there was no limit to the subjectivism that takes place inside the church. Anybody can hang out a shingle, and while they might have a really good base of knowledge in one specialty, it doesn't work across the board. The one I specifically hear a lot is young people coming to a Facebook group and saying, hey, I'm trying to share the gospel, but my friend, they're real science-minded. What do I do? Well, generally when I'm given that advice, I point out two things. One, what type of apologetics are you using? There's different types. There are apologetics that focus on the sciences. Kent Hovind in recent history popularized this. There's presuppositional apologetics, whose argumentative foundation is based on the fact that there is nothing that doesn't stem from God at the core. There's also a type called narrative apologetics, and that's what I do. We study the records of the early church and we build objectively factual data sets from what exists there. The second comment I'll make regarding, hey, my friend and their knowledge of science, and I can't prove Christianity because they're so smart because they support science. I'm doing the air quotes with science for a reason. This type of science is a political term. It's not a scientific term. When somebody comes to me claiming this, deep-rooted science, I say, oh, which science? Because science has hundreds of professions, hundreds of specialties, from academia to scientists working in the field. And inside of each type of science, you have bureaucracy, different positions, different departments. There's no such thing as science agrees upon X, Y, or Z. To further that, there's a joke by the famous 90s comedian Norm Macdonald where he says, when has science ever gotten it right? Now, it's facetious, of course. Science has given us a great deal, but he makes the joke that often when it comes to major things, the truth is often criticized and ridiculed and mocked before it's finally accepted. His example was, of course, Galileo, who discovered that the earth revolved around the sun. So when you're on Facebook, it can be a place to evangelize, but nothing will take the place of person-to-person talking when it comes to trying to reach somebody with the gospel. Nothing will ever take that place. But it is a good place to practice. In fact, in my experience, most of these, Facebook pages, doctrines of grace, as a hypothetical example, there are many hundreds. They're there so that young, ignorant theologians like myself, fresh out of college, can test their chops and people get torn apart. Just average, everyday Christians wanting real, solid answers about things. And it's unfortunate. So watch yourself out there, okay? There's nothing wrong with these dialogues, but know what you're getting yourself into and don't let it deflate you. Don't let it deflate your eagerness. You have to remember, we're coming from the position of truth. The evidence is there. The support is there. 90% of the time, it's just that we don't know where to tell somebody to go look because our denominations have us so afraid to speak of any other book than the Bible, right? But remember, the claim of Scripture is that it is sufficient unto salvation. It doesn't say it's sufficient to teach you everything you'll need to know about church history and philosophy and all of the above. I've often used this analogy. To tell somebody that the Bible is sufficient for all of these things is like doing this. It's like staring at a 6-inch square on the side of a building and insisting it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, only to take a step back and realize there's a mural painted on the side of the building, only to step back more and realize that that mural covers city blocks. That is the depth of objectively factual data and primary sources that exist in Christianity. Anyway, stay out there, work hard, keep pushing yourself. Look forward to talking to you next time. God bless you.